What's up, everybody? It's baseball and whatever. All right, it's Justin. There's Vinny. I need to hit recording on Zencastr as well. Vinny, make sure you add yourself back to Zencastr because it says you're in the green room again. So while Vinny's getting that ready, hi, it's Justin. There's Vinny if you're watching on YouTube. We are still trying to figure out all our things, but I think we're good. So Vinny's in there. We're good. All good. No echoes. If you hear an echo at some point in the show, let us know so I don't freak out and lose my mind at like, I don't know, when would that have been, Vinny? Like 11 at night last Thursday when we found out there was an echo for the whole show? Oh, no, now I can't hear Vinny. Oh, it's because Vinny's muted himself. Man, we're off to a banner start again. All right, Vinny.
This is going great.
Hi, Vinny. How are you?
Good, Justin. How are you?
All right, good. We are rolling on Zencastr. We're rolling on StreamYard. All right, episode 93, baseball and whatever. This week, I need to fix the banner already because, man, things are not going well here. We are talking baseball. We're talking World Baseball Classic. We have to talk Cubs, White Sox, although there's not really a lot to say about either one of them at this point. But we got to talk World Baseball Classic. We got to talk about best songs of the 2000s, which, Vinny, I came up with that topic. That was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
That was a terrible topic, Justin. I'm not going to lie. That was atrocious.
Yeah, well, I just want to throw it out there.
I
to
cheated.
Go ahead,
I cheated again, and I didn't actually go with like my favorite songs because the list would have been too long to narrow down. So I gave myself a predetermined list like I did when we did favorite pop songs of all time. Mm-hmm. So I went through, and I'll go through that later, but we don't have to dive into that right now. We'll go through that later.
All right. Well, I just want to say, I gave you three options. This is what you picked. So are you saying the other two options were even worse? Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know. That was the first one I saw. I said, okay, sure, that one. I don't know. I guess it was also the last one I read on the list, too, so...
Okay. Fair enough.
So maybe it was the only one I read on the list.
That's very encouraging. Yeah,
Sorry,
that's
Justin.
all right. Fair enough. No worries. It's all good. All right. Anyway, yeah, so we are ready to rock. I did pull 5 songs from the 2000s. I'll be honest, it made me kind of happy because it reminded me of having my first car, having my first job, being in high school and driving around Oak Lawn where I grew up and just all these jams playing on the radio. I don't know about you, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. Although it was very hard to pick songs that were important to me. There's one I guarantee no one is going to have because I've never even heard of this band up until I had found this song back in the early 2000s. But we also got to talk about the Bears. We got to talk about Aaron Rodgers, who, good Lord, people, stop giving him attention. Stop giving him a pulpit to talk at. Pat McAfee, I'm looking at you. Stop having him on your show.
He's at your house?
He is. He's right behind the computer right now. You can't see him, but he's there. That's a guy I still don't get that guy's whole bit. I will never understand the appeal of that guy. But anyway, we have a ton to talk about. It would probably help too if I pulled up the outline. All right, if you're listening to the show for the first time, thank you so much. First half of the show is Chicago sports. Second half is our whatever topic, which Vinny graciously told you is a banger this week. We are ranking our favorite songs of the 2000s, which we are millennials. I guess technically maybe I'm like an elder millennial. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Anyway, those labels mean nothing anymore. But we're going to talk about that. We also have some hot takes, some random thoughts. We got some TV stuff to go over. We also have some really cool news, something that we were nominated for that we got to talk about. We would love to have people that listen. If you could vote, that would help us out. We'll get to that in a second. But if you want to reach out to the show, youtube.com/baseball and whatever. If you're watching right now, like, share, and subscribe. We have hit the 150 followers mark on YouTube, Vinny. Woo! All right, I think we're at 151 right now, so that's awesome. And I just realized Zencastr hasn't been recording, so I'm going to find a way to I'll have to download YouTube again because this is frustrating as hell. All right, anyway, Zencastr is recording now. Anyway, if you are watching on YouTube, thank you very much. Like, share, subscribe. You can find us on your podcast app of choice. You can find us on facebook.com/baseball and whatever. You can also find us at twitch.tv/baseball and whatever, although we don't really broadcast too much there anymore now that we're not a part of a network. You can also find us on TikTok at baseball and whatever. I honestly will admit I still don't know what I'm doing there. The last video didn't do too well on there. You can find us on Instagram at baseball and whatever, and Twitter at baseball and what. And Vinny, we have broken the 1,000 followers mark on Twitter.
We did.
We did. I'm surprised. If you would have told me, I think I tweeted this out. If you would have told me 2 years ago when we started this goofy thing that we would hit 1,000 people following us, which who knows, maybe they're bots, maybe they're not. I don't know. It doesn't matter. There's 1,000 people.
Half bots, at least half.
Well, that's all right. It's okay. Somebody had to make that account.
Bots need love too, right?
Bots need love too. So thank you so much to all the people that follow us on there. That's the best way to get a hold of us because that's probably where we do most of our communication with people. And yeah, am I missing any others? Text line, the most important one. Text us or leave us a voicemail. 1-913-808-3278. That number again is 1-913-808-FART. There you go. All right. That's all I got in terms of introductions. No tweets this week, but we do have some good stuff to share in our What's New With You segment. Do you want me to start, Vinny, with this, or would you like to start?
No, you can start. Go ahead.
All right. So, probably when would this have been? Maybe like 4 or 5 months ago. We threw our name in the hat. The Sports Podcast Awards are an organization. They do all the variety of sports. They go from everything from baseball, football, soccer, hockey, I think, motorsports, sports business, variety of things. And every year they do awards. And so we put our name in the hat. We did this last year, but, we never heard back from them. It was kind of one of those, we'll call you, don't call us. But we put in our interview with Jason Kendall, our second interview we had with him. And lo and behold, this week, we found out we made it to the final 12 nationwide out of all the baseball podcasts that were in this competition. Someone over there thought we were good enough to make it to the top 12 out of thousands, tens of thousands of podcasts. So, thank you to the Sports Podcast Awards for shortlisting us. That I feel like that's an honor in itself. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
but
I also think it's kind of. Do you think it's kind of a pity one? Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, I don't think so. Have you seen the competition we're up against? I don't think it's a pity. There's one in particular that we have to take down. We at least got to finish ahead of that guy because that guy
John
sucks.
Heyman?
Yes. All right. So. If you're listening to this on YouTube or if you're listening to it on your podcast app, I will put in the show notes the link. So what we are asking our listeners to do, the tens of listeners we probably have, maybe hundreds at this point, I don't know. Go on this link, you create a free account, super easy. You just click use Google, use your Gmail, whatever. They're not going to spam you or anything like that. And you can vote for which baseball podcast you like the most. And I would hope you would pick baseball and whatever. So we are currently up against 11 other podcasts. There's a Red Sox one. There is a father and son podcast, which sounded pretty cool. There's a fantasy baseball podcast from CBS Sports. There's a Believe in the Astros podcast, which is hosted by former White Sox and Astro Jeff Blum. There is the Chris Rose rotation. If you remember Chris Rose I remember him from Best Damn Sports Show, like from the early 2000s. And he was also on the MLB Network for a long time. He had a show with Kevin Millar on MLB Network. There's also the Wake and Rake podcast, which has Will Middlebrooks, former Red Sox there, and the guy that we have to beat because I don't like him and he annoys me when I hear him on the radio, the John Heyman and Joel Sherman baseball podcast. So if that's not a reason to vote for us, I don't know what is, right? I don't know.
Yep, I agree.
So if you are interested in voting for us to help us out, the show notes will have the link in the description and how to do those things, and we would greatly appreciate it. All right, let's move on from that. Vinny, we started texting with Greg last night after we all watched season 3 of The Mandalorian. I thought it was great. I should preface, we are going to spoil the hell out of episode 3 right now. All right, there you go. But yeah, we're going to talk about it. So it's been well documented. The last 2 episodes of Mando season 3, I was kind of like, it's fine. I don't know. I know where it's going. Yeah. I'm not too shook up about it. It's okay. But this last episode last night hooked me big time. So first off, we get introduced. We see Bo-Katan and Din Djarin or Mando leaving the planet of Mandalore after having bathed in the living waters so he can return to his clan. Because he was an apostate.
I mean, he bathed in him, Justin. You don't have to do air quotes. He did bathe in him. It's not
bathing
like he just scooped up
or
some water.
I don't. That was more like drowning with style. I feel like Buzz Lightyear here, flying with style, or Woody, or falling with style. Yeah, Buzz. Thank you. It's been a while since I've seen Toy Story. But yeah, like it was okay. Yeah, he bathed. Yeah, okay. And then Bo-Katan saved him. She sees the mythosaur, which is a big deal in Mandalorian culture. And then they go to leave, and they're attacked by TIE interceptors, which are cool TIE fighters. And I can't remember. Did they say they came from a warlord, or was it from the Empire? I don't remember. Okay.
An Empire warlord,
okay.
I believe is the correct term.
So that made me wonder, is that somehow tied to that warlord that Mando messed with when he left the planet with Apollo Creed? I don't know. Or is this someone else?
Those were pirates.
Okay, those were full-blown pirates. I've seen some stuff on Twitter, people thinking... Go ahead.
It was something Bo-Katan did. They mentioned it. Like
that's right.
She had mentioned something like, was I not supposed to do that? He had mentioned that she had aggravated a warlord or something like that.
That's right. So my curiosity was piqued because a lot of people on Twitter are saying this is where Grand Admiral Thrawn is going to come into play, which you heard that character named a couple times in the Mando series. I believe when Ahsoka showed up in season 2. And if you've read any of the expanded universe like I have, because I'm a Star Wars nerd, you will know he is literally one of the coolest characters never to be in live action. He's in the Star Wars Rebels show, I believe, and maybe... What's the other Star Wars show that was the with Obi-Wan in Clone Wars? Thank you. I don't know if he's in that. He might be. I haven't watched any of those, but I'm super excited. If that's the case, this is going to be awesome because he is an excellent character. But yeah, so they escape. They say they're going to go somewhere to get away, and then we cut to the doctor from season 1 and season 2 that was experimenting on Grogu, and then eventually used to get into Moff Gideon's ship. Oh, Erica says the audio sounds great. Thanks, Erica. So we see that character, and he's being rehabilitated by the New Republic on Coruscant, the center of the galaxy, so to speak. And he's talking about his time as a scientist. So it makes you think immediately that, oh, they've brought in these former Imperial scientists. They're going to use them for different things. They're going to, embrace them. And then we find out, no, he's just got a crappy desk job. It was like the same crappy desk job that the guy from Andor had. The
right,
I was security guard
that too.
Yeah,
I was thinking that.
I was waiting for him to show up.
It looked almost similar, except I think there was definitely more computers and more workstations than what the New Republic had at that station. But I was thinking the exact same thing, Justin, as you were.
So you find
when they showed him there.
Well, and it was such a cool idea. So you find out that the New Republic has this rehabilitation thing for all these POWs that they captured after the end of the war that were Imperial. And then you see the communications officer that was also on Moff Gideon's ship, and she starts to talk with the doctor about, you were doing some really cool cloning stuff. The New Republic needs to have access to this. We can get you that stuff and do it on the down low. And he's like, no, that's not a good idea. That's, I want to help the New Republic. That they wouldn't like that. Through a matter of speaking, she convinces him that maybe this is the way to go, and she turns on him. They get the laboratory stuff he needs, and then he's taken back by the New Republic, and they are going to literally reintegrate him back into the New Republic society by kind of what would you call it? I know he called it the Mind Flayer, which made me think of Stranger Things, but
I thought about that too.
But yeah, so...
It's just like a mind-wiping device.
Yes, which gives a totally different dynamic to the New Republic, because you think of them as the good guys. Yep. They would never do these types of things. The, oh God, was he a Mon Calamarian? I don't know. I can't remember what he was. That alien that was explaining to him.
Oh, yeah, he kind of looked like...
Did he look like Akbar?
Yeah, well, that's what I thought of, because he said it's a trap.
Yeah, I think that was...
I kind of giggled at that, because I was like, was that
right.
supposed to be a throwback reference to the was that the third one,
Yes, Return of the Jedi, yeah.
Okay.
So they say, oh no, this isn't painful. It's just going to give you good thoughts. It's going to let you kind of let go of that pain of being a former Imperial working for the Empire. And then we cut to that communications officer is in the other room where the controls are, and she is left alone, and she cranks that thing to 11 and totally fries that poor guy's brain. I think he starts almost screaming at the end because he's in so much pain. Because you can see, like, whatever he's seeing is no longer colorful, fun, happiness. Like, it's bad news. And then cut to black. So that's your synopsis right there. Vinny, what was your take on the episode? What'd you like? What didn't you like? Are you excited? I think I know where you're going to go with this.
I love the entire thing. It was great. I love that the Admiral Akbar guy trying to convince him, oh, this is safe now. We've looked at all the specs and we've made this safe. It's okay for you to be under this. And the Empire, the scientist is freaking out about it. I just love that part. Yeah, I love that she turned on him. I'm very curious as to what her motives were. Is she actually good? Is she bad? I have a feeling that Moff Gideon is coming back in some sort of fashion because it was this is the second time now he was mentioned in the series. First was with Mando and Carl Weathers. I can't remember his character's name.
Creef something.
Yep, and they had talked like, oh, well, he got put on he went to camp or something like that. Yeah, it must have been some prison or something like that. Well, he got put out there, and then they were talking that he might have escaped, with the those former Imperial, I guess soldiers or workers or whatever. But so I have a feeling he's gonna make a comeback at some point. I don't know if the actor that played Moff Gideon is
Giancarlo Esposito.
If we know that he's actually back in the series, maybe they're keeping it quiet and hush hush, which is what they should be doing.
Yes.
Kind of like what they did with Luke at the end of season 2.
Yes.
So yeah, I absolutely loved it. About halfway through, I realized what they were doing. I'm like, oh, they're not going to show Mando anymore. This is the story.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was here for it. Like, I was glad that they weren't going to jump back and forth between the two stories and that we were locked in on the one story, which was great. And I'm with you. Like, I thought it was really cool how they showed that the New Republic isn't all great. And
no, they're not innocent.
No, they're not. And I thought that was a really cool aspect. It kind of shows them as a darker side, so to speak. And yeah, I thought it was also cool that, you have all these old ex-Imperial workers, soldiers. What you
got to do something with them. Like, because we're talking millions of people. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the camp, I guess the housing projects that they have them in, that I thought that aspect was cool.
Was interesting.
Showed that aspect was really cool as well. I like the point that we had talked about earlier about with Bo-Katan at the end of the episode when Mando and Bo-Katan arrive to the new haven of the Mandalorians. Where Din Djarin shows that he bathed in the waters, that they were both accepted because they both bathed in the waters, air quotes, that they were both accepted back into the Mandalorian cult, I'll say, the religion. And now Bo-Katan, everybody was supportive of Bo-Katan, and she kind of obviously we couldn't see what their facial expressions were, but you got the sense of she was like, oh, I'm being welcomed by these people after she went back to Mandalore and everybody abandoned her before. She's like, oh, these people are accepting me. I feel like she's going to kind of really grasp onto that, where Din Djarin's gonna, I feel like, kind of lose sight and kind of want to get away from that at the end of this. But I guess we'll see. What were your thoughts, Justin?
Spot on. I think that communications officer, and initially I was thinking, oh, she's just trying to work her way up in the New Republic. But the more they if that were the case, she wouldn't have fried that doctor's brains at the end. That was that was like evil Empire shit to the nth degree there. So I think there's going to be a turn there. I don't know how that's going to work, but yeah, I can definitely. I know you, Greg, and I were texting last night, and into this morning, and I really think you're going to see a role reversal where I really think that the Mandalorians are going to want Grogu to be introduced into their society, wearing the helmet, following the rules, all that stuff. And I could see Mando just being like, no, he's still a little kid, because his species doesn't age very fast. I'm not doing all this for him. He's not old enough to make that decision. And I could see there being some drama there. But like you said, the way Bo-Katan was welcomed back after they said, oh, well, you bathed in these waters too. And as long as you left your helmet on, we're cool. And you could kind of see like she dug that people were supporting her because she hasn't had that in forever from what we gather. I really think that's where they're going with it for sure. So I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Definitely excited. All right, and Mando spoilers. Vinny, I think you put this in here. March Madness, you got anything? Or did I put this in here? I don't even remember.
I did. Yeah.
Okay, what do you want to say?
March Madness started Wednesday, Tuesday? They start earlier every year, it feels like.
Yeah.
Did you do a bracket this year?
I did. I just do one.
Did.
I don't do more than one.
This is my first year not doing a bracket at all.
Really? And do you feel like liberated, or how do you feel?
I don't know. I never really felt liberated because I usually don't put any money on it because it's a waste.
No, neither do I.
Money.
Yeah.
Usually I do one, but yeah, I just had no desire, I guess, to do it. I don't have the madness fever anymore like I used to. I used to get all into it, researching teams, but I don't know. Maybe I'm older and just with work being busy, I just didn't get time around to do that. So yeah, I know I was listening to the games and they're exciting, but I don't know. It's just weird. I guess it's listening to the games and like watching the games. Since I don't have a bracket, I like have no attachment whatsoever. It's not that exciting for me, I guess.
Yeah, I picked Marquette to win. Did that.
Where are they ranked?
They're the 2 seed overall. They're a 2 seed. So they won the Big East too this year.
Okay.
Yeah, so I picked them. I don't do a ton of research. I usually find like one team and I kind of just glom onto them. I used to love following Syracuse, and they would always break my heart because there was a time where I picked them like 4 or 5 years in a row, and they lost every year. They were horrible. But that's neither here nor there. So yeah, we do it. I never did a bracket until I started dating your sister, and she's like, "Oh, you got to do a bracket." Like she did it in college, apparently. Which shocks me because she doesn't care about college basketball at all. So yeah, we each do a bracket, and it's more just for one of us to razz the other one about, "Oh, your bracket sucks." That's pretty much the only reason we do it at this point. I think she picked Houston to win, who was a 1 seed. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I love like the first weekend of March Madness because there's so many games. And then after that, I really start to trail off, especially. And I think that coincides with my bracket being busted and falling apart too. So,
I see that.
So that's where I'm at with that. And then lastly, Vinny, you have on here getting a new phone.
Yeah.
Are you getting a new phone?
What's new with me? I got a new phone. Yeah.
Nice. What'd you get?
The Pixel 7.
Nice. What do you think?
It's a great phone. It's a little disappointing now when you get a new phone. Like, remember when you would get a new phone? First of all, it would be free. It's never free anymore unless you have the expensive, the expensive unlimited plans. So the phone's not free. You don't get as much stuff as you used to. You used to get like a charger that would plug into the wall. Now you just get
the cord.
They don't even give you the thing
adapter,
that plugs into the outlet. And you don't get headphones anymore. I don't get that.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's not as fun anymore. I mean, the phone is great, and that's the phones have gotten so much better than when we first got it. But then again, when you have a phone and you don't have a case for it, man, that is like not using a prophylactic. I mean, it's risky, it's dangerous, but God, does it feel good without one. I'm waiting for my cover for my phone to come in, but I do enjoy having no cover on the phone.
It feels so good that the backing feels so good.
It does, but it is terrifying having that thing around. It really is,
and especially with young children around too.
Yes, Justin. Yes, I had my phone fall on the floor yesterday. I put it up on the armrest of the couch, thinking, oh, that's safer there, and it slid. This damn thing so smooth, it slid right off, right onto the floor, and I literally sat there probably for like a good 30 seconds, holding my breath, hoping that it wasn't broken, and luckily it wasn't. But yeah, I need to get a cover for my phone as soon as possible.
I'm due. I think it'll be 2 years in like August. July that I'll be due for a new one, and I had a Pixel 2 for the longest time. I loved that phone, and then I switched to a Galaxy S 2020, 21.
Okay,
I don't know, and I never had a Galaxy before. I don't really like it, but I've had it. It's fine, but so I'll either go back to a Pixel if I can find one that's affordable, or I haven't had an iPhone probably in about 6 or 7 years now, so maybe I'll go back to that. I don't know, but
don't do the iPhone.
No,
the Pixel. It's more. The Pixel's more affordable.
Oh, it's way more affordable.
iPhone.
Yeah, and the camera on the Pixel is so good.
Yeah, this one's
so
really good on the 7.
So, all right. Well, let me know as I get closer. I'll have to ask you what you think of if things have changed. You know, I just realized, Vinny, we never did our famous 93s. Should we go back, or do you just want to keep going?
Oh, we can go back. Sure, why not?
All right.
All right, Justin, do you have any? There's no white.
No, I have no.
There's no more Bulls. There's no White Sox. There's no Cubs. So all you have
there's
are
a Blackhawk,
one Blackhawk, and then there's the Bears players.
Was it? No, Yannick Perot, I think, was 94. I have no idea who wore 93 for the Hawks.
Doug Gilmour.
Oh, God. Maple Leafs legend. I forgot. That was when they got him when he was way after the hill, like most Chicago teams did. Yeah, Doug Gilmour was the captain of the Leafs for a while.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. I completely forgot he even played for the Hawks because it was so short-lived.
Yeah, 98 to 2000.
All right. Interesting.
And then for Bears, you got any Bears?
93? No, I don't have a clue. I have no idea.
All right. Let's see here. Recent Justin Jones wore it in 2022. Before that was Sam Acho. You had to remember Sam Acho.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember Sam Acho.
Will Sutton wore it. You remember Will Sutton?
Okay. Vaguely, yes.
Yep.
Very vaguely.
Let's see here. Nate Collins. That name sounds familiar. 2012 to 2013. Let's see. Adewale Goulier.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I remember him. Yeah, former Dolphin, too. Yeah.
Yep. Philip Daniels was another notable one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Phillip
Okay.
Daniels.
Yes.
Defensive end.
Yes.
And then the other notable one is, I guess, what is he? Extraordinaire, the famous sports agent of the Stars, Mr. Trace Armstrong.
Oh, that's right. Now? I believe so, yes. I believe you're correct.
Yeah. So, yeah, he wore it from 89 to 94.
All right.
That's it for 93s.
Nice. That was short and to the point, that's for sure. All right. I know at least 194 for the Hawks next week. All right. I'll be honest. You know what? Let's just get to the baseball, and then we'll figure it out from there.
Okay.
Baseball. Right. Welcome back to Major League Baseball. Sort of.
Taking a look at Chicago's 2 favorite teams and other happenings around the MLB.
All right, Vinny, unless you have something to say about the Cubs and the White Sox, this week has literally been next to nothing. I feel like with the World Baseball Classic going on, it's been pretty low-key. Cubs are still trying to figure out who that 5th starter is going to be. I'm thinking it's going to be Hayden Wesneski the more and more he pitches. White Sox, Tim Anderson's playing for Team USA, and I know he's been doing pretty well. I don't know, you got any Cubs-White Sox stuff, or should we just jump right to around the MLB? Yeah, I got one thing for around the MLB. Okay.
Outside of Caleb Killian pitched well again. He's, so he's another piece to the puzzle. I don't know. I'm assuming he's going to start in AAA this year, and I'm guessing he's going to be spot starting. Might probably see him on a regular basis if Drew Smyly drops, which would be nice to see him have an extended look. And have a couple spot starts there. Hopefully he doesn't get the yips like he had last year and can actually be a viable piece moving forward, because he was hyped up last year to be like a stud. And yeah, then he came up and he had control issues and got sent back down. Looks like he worked through them. So hopefully he can continue having that control and can again be that 1-2 punch maybe in the future with Hayden Wesneski. That'd be nice.
I completely agree. All right, well, the only thing, we got the World Baseball Classic going around that's been, I'll be honest, I have not, even since last week, I have not watched a single game. I've had intentions to, but by the time I go to find out what time it is and what game and what channel, it's like I'll just throw on ESPN Plus and watch a hockey game. So that might be more of a Justin problem than other baseball fan problem. I don't know. But we can get into. It would be
nice if it was on local cable.
I know it's
FS2 or FS1. I don't get those channels.
I get those, but I don't really watch them very often. But we do have one thing with the World Baseball Classic. Edwin Diaz, closer, I believe, for the New York Mets, injured himself during the game at the end, during Puerto Rico's win against, I believe, the Dominican Republic. He injured himself celebrating. And he is now likely out for the season with a full thickness tear of the patellar tendon in the right knee during his celebration. So, okay, my question for you, Vinny, is this a reason not to do the World Baseball Classic, or are people overplaying this and they need to just relax because this could have happened in spring training? He could have walked up a stair and tore his patella tendon as well.
Wait, people are overreacting to this?
I know, it's hard to believe. No, not on Twitter. Not on Twitter.
Yeah, they are all overreacting. I mean, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't make any sense to get. I don't know. It's just trying. I get why people like if. I think Cody Domendo said it perfectly. If he was on the Cubs and he had done it, yeah, I would be upset. I don't think it's a reason to not have the baseball classic. Like you said, he can injure it anywhere. That could have happened. He could have tripped over some luggage. He could have walked off the mound funny in a spring training game. Granted, he was celebrating because they won, but it doesn't matter. He could have got a hole-in-one on the golf course in spring training and jumped around
celebrated,
and blew out his knee. Could have done the exact same thing anywhere else. It doesn't. It's not like he blew out his arm. You have guys blowing out their arms everywhere. So I don't think it's a reason to not have the World Baseball Classic. I think they should still have it. I think it's good for baseball. They need to again, have it on channels where people can see it. It's definitely something that helps them grow the game internationally, because I think the Korea-Japan game had 664 million, or
it was insanely high. Yeah,
the the views were ridiculously high. I think it was bigger than any World Series game recent years. So I mean, this matters to more of the rest of the world, and for MLB and baseball trying to grow the game on a national or an international level, not a national level. So I think it's good to have, and it does seem fun to watch if I could watch it, to see the atmosphere at those games and to pretty much see all-star teams, right? Like all these, majority of these teams have, 3 or 4 stars on them. That's awesome to see. So yeah, I think they should still have it, and this definitely should not be a reason or a reason for somebody to point to and say, see, this is why they shouldn't have it. They definitely still should have it because it was a freak injury.
I think you nailed it. And I mean, if you think about Chicago baseball, we've seen people get injured from sneezing too hard. We've seen people get injured from coming out of hot tubs. It could have happened anywhere. Would I maybe ask the players who are playing other sports or in other things to maybe, hey, dial back the celebration a little bit? But, I can't remember who this was on Twitter that said this, so I don't want to take credit for this thought, but for the longest time, we bitch and complain that, all these athletes, they only care about the money, right? Like, they're mercenaries. There's no loyalty to teams. It doesn't matter. It's just who's going to pay them the most. you finally have guys playing for the love of their country and being able to show their pride, and they're excited. And now you're going to say, well, no, that's going to get them injured. We can't do this anymore. It's like you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So, is it a bummer? If I was a Mets fan, would I be pissed? Yes. And like Cody was saying, if he was a Cub, would I be pissed? Yeah. But I'm not going to take this away from him.
Baseball Classic.
No,
it's not the tournament's fault. It's like the World Cup too.
Yeah.
If a player I think a player and fans would rather a player get injured, during the World Cup. Like, I think people more care about the World Cup than they do necessarily the leagues. That's not right. In America, we care more about MLB, but I think the rest of the world cares about more of the World Baseball Classic than the MLB, to be honest. I mean, especially looking at the ratings, the MLB is not pulling in international ratings. So at this point, it's good for baseball. And I think, like you said, it's great to see the players play for the love of their country.
You're spot on. So, all right, the last baseball thing before we move on to football is I almost said our friend, and that is not the case at all because I can't stand this guy. Trevor Bauer, after not being picked up by any zero Major League Baseball teams, no semi-professional teams, no independent teams, has signed a deal.
Oh, no!
Has signed a deal with the Yokohama DeNA Baystars of the Nippon Professional Baseball Organization in Japan. His contract is for 1 year, $4 million base salary and incentives. So, oh my, how the mighty have fallen. I'll be honest, this was a great example of karma. And I was, maybe it makes me a sycophant or an asshole because there was a little bit of me was like, all right, good. I'm glad that he couldn't get a job. I don't know. Is that too strong of a take? I don't know, but
I don't think so. It's good to actually see teams, I guess, kind of take a moral, who knows how much of it's moral, but to kind of not sign him and look past, I guess, the talent that he might have and say, you're damaged goods. We don't want you around, and not, overseeing what he had did, whether they did it for the actual moral reasons or they did it because he's very toxic and they don't want bad PR. Either way, it's good to see them take, I guess, note of the seriousness of what had happened with him. Right.
Completely agree. I think you nailed it. So yeah, to be honest, I'm surprised the team in Japan took him. But we'll see what happens. We'll see if over time, if time heals all, if this gets him back in the MLB, if he pitches well. Part of me thinks it's going to be a while. I really don't think he's going to be back anytime, but that's just me. So.
Well, the White Sox will sign him next year.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Poor Sox fans. Oh, my God. Also, if you're a Sox fan and you're not following the 108 tourney on Twitter, oh, my God, I am having so much fun voting for that. I mean, granted, I'm not a Sox fan, but I follow a few of those people on Twitter. It's awesome. I think Sean of CHGO is in the tournament, and he was. First of all, he already lost. He was posting pictures of like him from St. Xavier. I didn't even know he went to St. Xavier, which is my alma mater. And then I realized I'm almost 10 years older than him, which is really depressing because he doesn't look like, well, I mean, that's rude to say he doesn't look like a young guy, but he looks like a 30-year-old guy. So I was kind of shocked about that. Yeah, I think Herb Lawrence, also a friend of the show, I think he won, didn't he? I think he won his first round. Yep. He won his first round. Okay, so good for them. Highly recommend it. Just search up 108ing. You'll find it on there. I know I always feel bad. I always tag that hashtag on Twitter for all of our stuff, and I'm sure they're probably pissed because we have nothing to do with them. But I know there's a good clientele of White Sox that follow that handle. So all right, I think that does it for baseball. You got anything else for baseball you want to share?
I don't. No.
All right, let's get into the football talk then.
Manures of the Midway, where the guys talk the pile of horse crap that is the Chicago Bears.
I mean, when you consider the other choices, manure is actually pretty refreshing.
All right. Vinny, is it possible the Bears are like actually doing things right? Is it in Ryan Poles we trust at this point?
It depends on who you talk to.
Okay.
After last Friday, I would say that everybody would say yes, but after free agency opened up, there's still a lot of people that are upset with
Sure.
the moves that he made. I guess I can go over the new free
Yeah,
agent
why
signings
don't you
the
read that
Bears
for
have.
us?
Yep, they got Deontay Foreman, running back. He was with Carolina last year on a one-year deal. Robert Tonyan, tight end from Green Bay. Andrew Billings, defensive tackle from the Raiders. P.J. Walker, backup QB from Carolina. Travis Homer, running back. I think he was with Seattle last year. DeMarcus Walker, defensive lineman. He was with the Titans last year. Nate Davis, offensive guard, also from the Titans. Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker from Buffalo, and TJ Edwards, linebacker from Buffalo. Those are the free agent sightings that they had. Their big ones were TJ Edwards with the Eagles last year. They signed him to a 3-year deal, and Tremaine Edmonds was, I think, probably the biggest one so far. Linebacker from Buffalo. He's only 25 years old. I feel like he's been in the league for like 6 years. He's I think he's been in the league actually like 4 years or something like that. But he's only 25 years old, so young linebacker. Still got a lot to prove, and they got him on a decent deal where they didn't have to pay him $20 million a year like they did with, or were going to have to with Roquan Smith. So. Decent signings. The lack of offense, they only got the one, Nate Davis, the offensive guard. Is supposed to be really good, does have some injury concerns, so that's something that feels more Bears-esque than anything, signing a guy, your big signing on the line, and he's got an injury history. But maybe, maybe the guy comes to Chicago, they get him on a right nutrition plan, and he's able to stay healthy. DeMarcus Walker, I think, was kind of their bigger defensive line signing. Andrew Billings is the defensive tackle I mentioned. He's a good run stopper, doesn't do much else. Both of them were role players, but DeMarcus Walker had more sacks, I think, than the entire line combined, or I think that's what it was. He had 7 sacks, and he had more combined sacks than I think like the other edge rushers on the Bears last year, which is pretty pathetic for the Bears. Good for him, but it's yet to be seen whether he can be a full-time guy in the line. So we'll see. They did let David Montgomery, he signed with the line, so that kind of hurt
A little bit.
I liked Montgomery, but he wasn't like this, guy that changed the game. He was a really solid player for him. They're going to miss him if they can't get, maybe they can get that productivity out of Herbert. He's not as good as a pass blocker as Montgomery was. So maybe Foreman can step in and do that. I'm not too familiar with them, only through fantasy football. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think the big thing, that has happened so far was the trade with the Panthers, where the Bears traded the number 1 pick, where they got the number 9 pick in this year's draft, a 2nd round pick in this year's draft, a 2024 first round pick of next year, and a 2nd round pick of 2025, and also got DJ Moore, the star wide receiver from Carolina. That draft haul was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Moore is essentially a first-round pick.
Yes.
He's a proven first-round pick too.
Yes.
I think what they had, I think they had a 2025 first round, but the Bears got DJ Moore instead, which I think is way more valuable than a 2025 pick. If they would flip-flop 24 and did DJ Moore instead of the 2024 first-round pick, then it would have been like, oh, okay, it would be nice to have that. But, again, DJ Moore's a proven veteran wide receiver who's caught over 1,000 yards 3 straight seasons. only 25. The Bears have him locked up for 3 more years. He's only costing them around $20 million when a star wide receiver is making around $30 million. That was a great trade by the Bears. Yes, it would have been nice if they would have traded to the Colts and then traded back again. But again, that was always kind of a pipe dream. They made one trade. They got a wide receiver, which now they don't have to necessarily worry about because you have DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, and Chase Claypool as your 1, 2, and 3. I think that's a solid wide receiver room compared to what they had last year. And I think that's, so I think you could go into the season without drafting a wide receiver and feel comfortable with that. I think they need to address the defense and offensive lines. I've heard this is a deep defensive edge rusher draft, so it seems like something they could get through they can acquire talent that way and be okay with not signing any of those free agents. Now, the offensive line, again, I would like them to sign somebody. I know Orlando Brown Jr. is still out there. I have yet to see him sign. He's kind of the last big one out there. Maybe they can get him and then draft a couple guys. I would be fine with that. They have, it was a big haul, a big ask to completely fix it. But I think if they can add some good pieces still that are out there, then I think they're on the right path to getting back to winning the division. I don't think at this point, and it depends on what they do in the draft. We're still, technically day 2 of actual free. Tampering began at the beginning of the week, but they couldn't sign guys until Wednesday. So it's still really early. This is probably the second inning if we were talking to Crane Kenny. And we still have the draft. The Bears have the draft to do, and we'll see what they do on that. Jalen Carter didn't have a good pro day, so whether the Bears can, he'll drop to 9 or maybe they go somewhere else, but he might be available there at 9. I really don't do any of my homework on any of these guys other than what I hear.
No.
So, I just know he's got talent, but I know that he's kind of, a lot of people are split on whether they want him or not, because he does seem to take a lot of plays off because he's not, it doesn't seem like he's in fit condition from what I hear. So, it's going to be interesting leading up to the draft, and the draft is going to be very interesting. The Bears could also move out of that 9 spot and acquire more picks and move back. So, and that first round pick next year from Carolina, that should be a top 10 pick again, because I don't.
You don't think Andy Dalton's going to lead them to the division for the Panthers as their starting quarterback?
I don't think so. We saw Andy Dalton here in Chicago. We saw him up front and personal, and it wasn't
the Red Rocket is just the gift that keeps on giving,
Yep.
All right. Well, I think you pretty much nailed it. You are the football guy here. I'll be honest. When I saw that come across on my phone, the only thing I saw at first was that they got the 9th overall pick, and I'm like, oh my God, here we go. They screwed this up again. They only got how did they get the 9th pick overall? What did they do? And then when I opened the actual app from ESPN, the notification, and I saw DJ Moore in these additional picks, and like you said, Justin Fields needs someone to throw to, and the fact that DJ Moore was successful with kind of not that great quarterbacks. I mean, what's Carolina? What's the quarterback for Carolina? Sam Darnold? Darnold. Not that good. Darnold, thank you. I kept wanting to make him French. Yeah. Sam Darnold. I don't know. He wasn't that good, and DJ Moore still is considered a really good wide receiver. So I think if Justin Fields continues to grow, DJ Moore is going to grow. They're going to hook up. I'm excited. Like you said, next year is another low or high, depending on what you want to call it, semantics. Like, the Panthers are hopefully not going to be very good. All signs point to that. That's going to be another good first-round pick, even if the Bears are mediocre this year and they don't have a top 10 pick, overall, I'm actually excited. It's been a long time since I've been excited for Bears season. I don't want it to come yet because I want to enjoy my summer vacation, but I'm excited. So I think I'll leave it at that. The last thing I wanted to say is, and we talked a little bit about this at the start, Aaron Rodgers, shut up. I don't know if this is because he's a Packer and I'm a Bears fan. Oh my God, I am so over this a-hole. It's like, all right, the whole thing with him going into seclusion and his remote, dark therapy, I don't even know what you want to call it, where he was going to live in the dark by himself in
Solitary
silence.
confinement?
Thank you, yes. Going in the hole. Yeah. And then, like I said, we mentioned this earlier, I don't understand the thing with Pat McAfee. I don't understand the love for him, and he's too hyped up. He's too excited. Dial it down. For those that like him, hey, you do you. I'm happy for you. But then he did like his hour-long special with Aaron Rodgers, and, Aaron Rodgers playing coy about, well, some things are true and some things aren't true and blah, 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 but I want to go play for the Jets. It's like, well, you're not a Jet right now, so... Dude, relax. And then the thing about him issuing demands to the Jets that they need to go get these receivers who were all just like half of them were former Packers that are all getting older.
They're just his friends.
It's his friends. Like
Sign my friends.
It's like, all right, is this? I have nothing against LeBron, but LeBron kind of has that persona of when he goes to a new team, he kind of calls the shots. Is that what Aaron Rodgers is now? Like, Aaron Rodgers, you won one Super Bowl. That's it. One. Like.
Two MVPs.
Two MVPs, yes, I suppose. Also a head case. But it's like, do you really want to give him that much power before he's even on your team? And I mean, are the Jets, they were okay last year, but is he really going to make them that much better?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I was shocked that the Jets are moving heaven and earth to try to acquire him. They're not a quarterback away.
No.
They weren't. It didn't seem like they were. I know they had a good defense, but does Aaron Rodgers really move the needle? Especially if you're gonna, I guess they feel that. I'm not a Jets fan, so
no, neither am I.
Played the Jets, and I know they played the Packers, and they barely beat the Packers last year. And I guess they don't have a quarterback, and okay, like that's what they're gonna go with. Aaron Rodgers wasn't great last year. He wasn't his MVP self. He didn't win the MVP. So why would you want to be acquiring a guy with such a big cap hit? And I guess the Jets aren't close either. I just saw a report saying the Jets aren't close to a trade yet with the Packers. So
no,
this is gonna drag out for a little bit here unless something changes drastically. It sounds like.
So this is from Fansided. This was written by Mark Powell, but it comes from a report from Mike Florio on his morning article on Professional Football Talk. He said the Packers want more than a first-round pick as the base of this deal. They want protection in 2025 in the event Rodgers plays in 2024, and that's more than the Jets believe they should surrender for a player the Packers no longer want. If the Jets are willing to offer something like a conditional package, that would entail as much as a second-round pick this year and up to a second-round pick next year. The Packers would be nuts not to take that. We also know it says Brian Gutekunst wants his moment to shine, and receiving a bounty for Rodgers would be it. However, the Jets are not inclined to agree for now. So, Rodgers is saying that's the team he wants to go to, but, this might not even happen. And if that's the case, what then? I don't know.
Right now, I feel like they're both playing chicken because the Packers don't want Rodgers, the Jets do, but neither, the Jets don't want to give up a lot for him, so they're both just staring at each other, waiting for somebody to blink. Right. I mean, and if the Packers wanted to do, they should have done it last year. If they wanted to get a haul for Rodgers, do it after he comes off his MVP season. Move on to Jordan Love. Except no, they catered to Rodgers' last, all his wishes and everything like that. Then they got rid of Devontae Adams for whatever reason. They're trying to run it back and have the last dance or whatever Rodgers tweeted out or posted on Instagram. I mean, I don't get it. What were they thinking? How are the Packers have zero leverage in this situation? Yeah. I mean, if the Jets can easily get up and go somewhere else, they could. They very well could. And the Packers will be left holding Rodgers. And then what are they going to do? I would seriously, if I was
I would
the Jets,
laugh.
I wouldn't offer a first round for him.
No.
I'd give him a second, if at the most. But I would start at like a third. That's where I would start. I would be generous and say a third's more than you should get for a guy you don't want. And you got a ton of money you have to pay him, or we'll pay him, and you can have a third.
And realistically, is he only going to play for like another couple years? If that, 2 tops?
Yeah.
Like, he's not Tom Brady. He's not going to play to like 45. I mean.
The drop-off was bad last year.
Yeah, it was really bad.
It was significant. So
I don't know. All right, well.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm not a Packer fan this year.
No, well, there's many reasons to be glad for that, but this is definitely priority number 1 at this point. Vinny, you got any other football talk, or should we just get to the whatever?
I don't know. Oh, you don't want to do hockey talk?
Well, yeah, I guess I can mention that real quick if you want. That's fine. Did you watch any of that?
That's fine.
All right, let's talk about it for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about them.
Yeah. All right.
Used puck bags.
Hey, shut up! You guys stink. I thought we came here to play hockey.
You know, I knew we forgot something.
Diving in on what's happening with the Chicago Blackhawks.
All right, there's not really much to say about the Hawks. They're playing games. I don't know if anyone's really paying attention. The tank for Bedard is on. I think that I put them on. I don't pay attention to all of them. But they're in the top 3 for Bedard right now. I believe the NHL draft lottery will be May 8th, I believe they announced this week. So that will be must-see TV if you're a Hawks fan to see if they do get the number 1 pick and get Connor Bedard. But the reason I wanted to bring this up real quick is that the NHL used this technology, which they have been kind of playing with, I guess, in the background. They put sensors in the material that the jerseys are made out of, very lightweight. You probably wouldn't even see them, and they match that to a sensor in the puck, which they've done that for decades at this point. And they, for some reason, teamed up with a Disney cartoon called Big City Greens. Is that correct, Vinny?
That is correct.
All right, I've never even heard of this cartoon before, but they just announced it. It was weird that they did it on like a Tuesday night. You'd think this would be better for a weekend game, but they broadcast a alternate broadcast of this game on I think it was on ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, and the Disney Channel. Yes, and through the sensors, Big City Greens or Disney or the NHL literally built out. It looked like a video game. They took the art style of this cartoon and they mapped the players to this art style, and they literally did the game, but it looked like it was the cartoon from what I gather, right? Yeah. Like that's kind of what it was. And they had it set in the city of Big City Greens, I guess. I don't know what the city is called, unless it's called Big City. I don't know, but
I think it's Big City Greens, or maybe it's just
fair enough.
City Greens. I don't
but
know.
what was really neat is they even had sensors in the ref, but then in the cartoon they made the ref a chicken, and they would make him squawk whenever the ref was actually talking in the real game. They had characters from the cartoon playing on certain lines with the NHL players. Yep. They had characters playing as the goalies, which were pretty funny. And then they even had Kevin Weeks, who I love watching his stuff. He's a broadcaster, NHL insider, former goalie. And then whoever the other broadcaster was, they had them in motion capture suits, and they would cut to the broadcasters, and they had the 2 broadcasters in the style of this cartoon, and they were animating and talking, and they did little clips to kind of get younger players to understand what hockey was and who they had something about Wayne Gretzky on there, which was kind of neat. So I actually had it on for a while. Maddie, granted, she'll watch some hockey with me for 5 minutes, but she was pointing to the TV more times than I can count, in 10 minutes while I had it on. It kind of made me happy. For as much as I can't stand Gary Bettman in the NHL front office, this was actually a smart idea to try and rope in new fans. So as somebody who I know enjoys hockey, but also enjoys this cartoon, what was your take on this? Did you enjoy it? Did the kids enjoy it? Did they watch it? What was your take?
Yep, this was a home run. I thought it was like I saw the article that was written, and then I think I messaged you on Twitter. I was thinking, oh, is this a video game? Because I was like, oh, this would be a cool video game.
Yeah, for the
but then
kids.
You're like, no, it's going to be live TV, which blew my mind. I was like, how are they going to be able to pull this off? And so it started around bedtime for my youngest one, so I had to put her down first, and I told my son, I was like, I'll put the game on for you. Do you want to watch this? And I was like, it's a hockey game, but it's Big City Greens. And he's seen the show. The show's hilarious. It's almost like Beverly Hillbillies.
Hillbillies?
It's just like hillbillies moving into the big city. And
Okay.
they're just, it's funnier, cartoonish stuff. It's a great show. So I recommend watching it. But yeah, I thought it was cool. He liked it. It was funny. When I put it on, I went to put our daughter down, and it took about 30 minutes to put her down. And I came downstairs. He was still watching it, and he just looked at me and goes, "This is so long." Because I think he was thinking it was a show.
It was a regular show,
and he
yeah.
didn't understand, that it's the hockey game.
It's a
But he
long
thought it
game,
was
yeah.
cool. He wanted to watch it the next day. Hey, can we watch that hockey thing? And so this was a home run, I think.
That's
by
awesome.
The NHL. I think what they did with this, what the NFL is doing with
With Nickelodeon, yeah.
and having SpongeBob and the slime stuff.
Yeah.
That's ingenious stuff to get younger kids to watch your product and get interested in it. Then you have the MLB. They have blackouts. Oh, that's great. Yeah, we're trying to get fans into the stadium. That's why we have the blackouts.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Like people from Iowa are going to want to drive all the way into Chicago or wherever they want to
Minneapolis. Yeah, I don't know. St. Louis. I don't know where they would go. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah. All right. They'll get right on that. No, you're losing fans that way. Have it first accessible and then do something fun like this. You could easily, like we talked about, they could probably, if they could do this for hockey, like completely changing like the entire rink and like viewing it as a cartoon, you could do simple things like we talked about, like baseball plays on May the 4th. They could do a Star Wars Day where the bats look like lightsabers. That can't be too hard to do. I have to imagine that there's technology out there where you could, if you're watching on TV, the bat looks like a lightsaber. That would be pretty cool. And you could probably do stuff with having Star Wars characters around the stadium or superimposed into the game if you're watching it on TV. But then again, it's blacked out so no one can watch it on TV. It just, MLB is just frustrating. If you're trying to grow the game, I get the rule changes. I'm not talking about that. This is just like simple stuff you can do to get people interested in your product. And not doing it just, I don't know. This was a home run by the NHL. I still can't believe they pulled it off. And maybe that's why they did it on a Tuesday, in case something went terribly wrong and nothing worked out.
I think you nailed it. Yeah, I really, I even sat and I had it on for a while even when Maddie went to bed. I'm just like, this is a really cool idea. I saw a lot of love for it on Twitter, which was pretty cool. There was a few people like, this is so stupid. I don't get, what's the purpose of this? I'm like, well, it's not for you, A.
Yep.
And B, they're not taking the game away from you. You can still watch the regular game on ESPN. Like, there's nothing changing here. It's not interfering with your ability to watch it. So
did you watch it on ESPN as well?
I watched it on.
Did you just watch the cartoon?
I watched a little bit on the Disney Channel, and then I flipped back and watched the regular game on ESPN for a little while, and then I put something else on. I don't know what else I was watching, but yeah.
Could you tell like that they had different stuff on, like to do it, or like, I guess like, did the players look any different? That's what I was kind of curious. Like, could you tell like the players had sensors on them, or was it just their sweaters?
No, you can't tell anything. It's just their normal. It's their normal sweaters.
That's awesome.
The sensors themselves are. I think they might literally even be sewn into the fabric, so you would never see them. I mean, like they're paper thin now.
Cool.
The puck itself, it's inside the puck when they vulcanize the rubber, I believe. So that's all good. But yeah, overall, home run. Hat trick, I guess, for the NHL.
Yeah.
Overall, it was a hit. Good for them. I hope they do it again. I think they should continue to try new things like this. I think it was a success. So.
I think so. Yeah.
All right, let's get to the whatever. I can't wait to hear your favorite songs of the 2000s, Vinny.
Oh boy, it's a doozy.
Now it's time for whatever.
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 Whatever you want. Whatever I want.
Whatever, dude. Irrelevant.
Whatever, dude.
Alrighty, Vinny, take it away.
Welcome to Whatever, Baseball and Whatever. This week we are ranking our top 5 songs of the 2000s, from 2000 to 2009. Justin gave me a list. I picked this one. I will be honest, I was not thinking clearly. I might have just picked the first one I read. And said, let's go with that. And
As soon as you said this is what you wanted, I'm like, oh, did he? Okay, this doesn't seem like a Vinny pick. All right, well, I guess we're gonna roll with this. But all right, let's do it. So,
yeah. I've made a grave mistake. This was, I should have picked maybe a year out of this.
Yeah.
That would have been easier. Instead of picking the entire decade, that was moronic on my part. I also blame you, Justin, for just, I guess, putting that out there in the universe for me to pick. So I think you have to shoulder some blame yourself.
I just like to set you up, Vinny. That's my goal. I'm not gonna lie.
That's fine. I will say, because this was so hard and I didn't have the time to go through all the songs I like, because there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot.
From the 2000s. I picked 30 songs. I did the Billboard top. I kind of did what I did when we did the pop songs of all time.
Yes.
Favorite pop
Which was
songs.
another doozy.
That was, again, yes. I don't know what we were thinking. But so I kind of did that, but I did it every year. I picked the song that was number 1 on the chart for the Billboard Hot 100. Was on there the longest at number 1. So I did it by each year. So I did that chart. I did, what was it? Mainstream Rock's 100 Billboard and Alternative Rock 100.
I think that
so
works.
I gave myself roughly 30 songs because there were some ties in there. So yeah, that was it was interesting, and there was I'll just say it now. I almost put Nickelback in my top 5.
Oh, you know what? I take that. I take that back. I feel like they do. I don't know where the turn was on them, but I do feel bad because they were just a normal rock band in the early 2000s.
Well, Photograph is such a terrible song.
Oh, I hate that song.
And a lot of when you hear like someone says like Nickelback, like you think like rock ballad, like the Photograph song, rock ballad, kind of slow, like just like cornball-y. The song I heard that was on the Mainstream Rock's number 1 list for, where is it on my list? I almost 13 Weeks in 2004. It's a song called Figured You Out.
Oh, that is that song.
It's a raunchy song.
Slaps. I believe the lyrics. The opening lyrics are like, "I like your pants around your feet." I think if that's the song I'm thinking of. Yes. Okay.
Yep. Down by your those are when I saw Nickelback, I rolled my eyes and go, God, that song's gonna suck. But then when I heard it, I'm like, the first line, I was like, oh my God, I started blushing. I was like, oh, this is a bad song.
I don't know. This isn't the Chad Kroeger I know. I mean, yeah.
And it, like you said, it slaps. Like, that song rocks, and I almost put it in my top 5.
Wow.
But I didn't. But yeah, like I said, like I wanted to put it there. Only I didn't put it there because it is like maybe a little too raunchy. It's not a
little risque, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have her on around the house at all for the kids to hear. I mean the music and it's
the guitar.
Good. I really I mean, for a Nickelback song, like, I was not expecting that whatsoever.
I want to say
I actually heard that one.
I want to say that was like the second song of theirs I had heard, because I remember How You Remind Me got like overplayed to the nth degree, and then I remember hearing that one, and that was played on like the alternative rock stations out here in Chicago, and I was like, oh, Like, I think I still have that on my iPod. It's like one of 2 songs by them I have. And then once Photograph hit, I'm like, oh, God, I don't want anything to do with these guys anymore.
Yeah.
So, and now they're the meme
But,
of like, oh, you know, so-and-so listens to Nickelback, and everyone's like, ew. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
But yeah, so I almost put them in my top 5, but I didn't.
Okay.
They were the only strong honorable mention I had on my list, I would say.
Okay.
But there were a lot of, you know, I think I overlooked the 2000s for music because I just gravitate. Oh, 90s is the best, but 2000s they had a lot of good songs in there. Mm-hmm. I think that might be the peak. Maybe I'm downplaying 2010s as well, but yeah, I was surprised at a lot of the songs that were there.
This was a lot of fun, mainly because like when I think of like my music I love, I think of like the 90s music because that's when I really started to get into music as like a grade school kid. Mm-hmm. But these were all the songs that I listened to hanging out with friends, driving around in high school, and then also downloading on iTunes. And I was one of the kids on campus that always had his earbuds in his ears. I don't know why. I don't know if
reading Star Wars books.
I'm pretending to read textbooks instead. I don't know what's worse, pretending to read textbooks or reading the Star Wars books on the quad. I don't know what's worse, but yes, that is exactly when you're right. So, yeah. All right,
Justin. I guess I'll let you go first.
All right, this is a song. I love this song. I was looking on my iTunes account. It's still one of the songs I have the most played. I had never heard of this band. I had never heard of this song because it was definitely never on the radio. I heard it in a movie that I really enjoyed. I have not seen the movie in about 15 years, though. Do you remember the hit movie with Matt Damon and Greg Kinnear called Stuck on You from 2003?
Yes, I remember that.
Where they are conjoined twins.
Yes.
And one is dating Ava Mendes's character. I don't know who the other character is. I know Cher is in the movie for some reason. It's a really dumb movie, but in high school I loved it. There's a song in there. I remember looking it up on IMDb and finding it and then buying it on iTunes. It's by a band called the Willard Grant Conspiracy, and the song is called Soft Hands. It is very mellow. It's kind of got like a folk rockish song to it. I absolutely love it. I would love to know if you'd listen to it on Spotify tomorrow, Vinny, or whenever you have time. I would love to hear your take on it because it's kind of got a little bit of a rock tinge to it, but it's also a little indie rock. But it's such a mellow song. I listen to that all the time walking around on campus. I don't know why. I don't know why it's in a stupid ass movie like Stuck on You, but it is. It's just a great song.
Who's the band again?
It's called the Willard Grant Conspiracy, and the song is called Soft Hand. It's from 2003. And
it's
I don't
Soft Hand or Hands. Like
I believe it's Soft Hand.
Okay.
But I've never heard anyone that actually has heard of this band. I've never heard of anyone who's heard of this song, but it is literally one of my favorite songs of all time, and it's from 2003.
Interesting.
So, yeah, check it out. Let me know what you think.
Listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
Nice.
you and I are on the same wavelength when it comes to music. Not so much Star Wars series, but and not DC movies either, for that matter. But when it comes to music, I feel like we're pretty similar in our tastes for the most part.
For the most part, yeah.
You know, I know you're a big Tyler the Creator fan. We differ there, but other than that, you know.
Yeah. Can't wait for him to go on tour
with Nickelback.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give that. Oh, he's gonna. Or I wonder who's gonna open for who. Man, they're both.
Oh man,
that's a powerhouse duo.
Wow,
right there.
That's a doozy.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good one. I'll have to give that one a listen.
Yes.
I'm kind of interested in that one now.
Yeah, check it out.
But my number 5 was the number 1 for 10 weeks in 2006. It is by Queen Bee herself, Beyonce. It is Irreplaceable. I listened to that song today thinking, oh, this is going to be terrible. But I actually listened to the lyrics of the song, and it's actually a pretty good breakup song. I don't think I ever, like when I heard it on the radio growing up, I just just never tuned it out, didn't really care. But it's actually a pretty good song. Good R&B beat to it. Beyonce's very talented as a singer, and you hear that in the song. So I picked Irreplaceable by Beyonce because it's actually a pretty darn good song. So.
I did not know which song that was, but I just Googled it, and the immediate thing that popped up was the lyrics, and that is the to the left, everything you own in a box to the left. Right. Fun fact that I didn't know, according to Google, Irreplaceable was written by an extremely talented singer and songwriter, or by the singer and songwriter Neo, along with production duo Stargate. The track was originally written with a country vibe in mind and was supposed to be given to Shania Twain or Faith Hill, but when Beyonce heard the track, she loved it and took it for herself. Interesting.
Yeah, I can't hear that as a country song.
No. I'm when I think of Beyonce, I like her more in her Destiny's Child days. I will totally rock out to some Destiny's Child, but there are a few Beyonce songs, and like you said, you can't take anything away. She is a very talented singer for sure.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
All right,
Justin, number 4.
All right, my number 4. This band, I don't know how long they lasted, but they had Travis Barker as their drummer. And this was around the time where Blink-182, I think they were still a thing, but like they also did, do you remember Boxcar Racer? That had like...
Yes.
Okay. So some of them were doing Boxcar Racer, and then Travis Barker was the drummer for this band. The band was called The Transplants. Does this ring a bell at all?
Oh, yes. I love the Transplants.
And the song is Diamonds and Guns. Do you remember that song?
If I heard it, I would recognize it.
Yeah. It's got a
the
very, very unique
Rancid,
sound.
It's Tim Armstrong, isn't it?
I believe you are correct, yes. Tim Armstrong, very unique sound. The drum part, Travis Barker just rips on the drums, the snare drum in particular, and, I was really playing the drums a lot, especially in 2002, 2003. It's a great, like, punkish, rockish song, but it's also got, like, almost like a little bit of hip hop in it, but it's not. I wouldn't call it a hip hop song, but it's multiple singers in it. So good. I don't hear that song very often anymore, but it was on the radio a lot in 2003 when it came out, or 2002. But another one, if you liked the Transplants, you've definitely heard this song. It's got a very unique sound. Highly recommended. As soon as you start and the drum part starts, like, it's just a jam. I highly recommend it for sure.
Nice. I'll
give
have
that
to
a
give
listen.
that one a listen. I think I've heard it.
Most likely.
Yeah, the Transplants came on, I think, like my Discover Weekly, probably like within the last 5 years, and the song that came on, I was like, oh, I love this. This is great. I didn't realize. It's funny, all these, like, sort of, like, I guess, I don't know, the combination of band like
super groups,
popular, they kind of just like form. They do like side projects together, and they come out with an album. It was like really good stuff. And it's just something that you don't necessarily, if you're not like super into the band, know like exactly what the members are doing on side projects, that you kind of don't see that. That's a good one. I'll have to give that one a listen to just to see if I recognize it. My number 4 was the number 1 song for 8 weeks in 2009. It is Alice in Chains' Check My Brain.
I don't think I've heard that song before.
That song slaps. Just kind of like the Nickelback one. And that one would be a better walkout song than Paul Revere. It is very good. It rocks. As soon as I heard it, I go, oh yeah, I like that one. I had never heard of it until today. But again, that was number 1, 8 weeks on the mainstream rock top 100 for according to Wikipedia. But yeah, as being mainstream rock, I had never heard of that song before today.
No.
But it is really good. It rocks. And I don't know much about Alice in Chains, but that song is pretty darn good. So that is my number 4.
Yeah, I don't know. I know the Alice in Chains album from I don't know the song that Wood is on and Man in the Box. I don't know what album that is. It doesn't matter, but that's the one I'm familiar with. Oh, that's from 91. Holy cow. But yeah, okay, this has got a really good guitar part in it. I'm digging it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I like that. I like that a lot. But yeah, I've never ever even heard this song before.
It was a number one song for 8 weeks. Must have been asleep, hibernating.
And
that for
what
those
year?
8 weeks.
What year was this? Does it say?
2009.
I was dating your sister then. My life was over. I wasn't paying attention to any of that. So.
God.
I'm just kidding. I love her. All right.
All right, Justin, number 3.
All right, my number 3. I'm looking at my top 5 here. Okay, we are gonna go. All right, we are gonna go. In 2002, I remember this song came on a lot on the radio when we were driving around in the range in school when we were doing driver's ed. Where like you had to work on your like parking maneuvers. I'm assuming you guys had that out in Freeport too, right? Uh-oh, I think I just lost Vinny. He froze. All right, well, hopefully Vinny comes back. I don't know if he can hear me, but he just disappeared. So, all right, my number 3, I'm sorry. I am a huge fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I love the album Californication, but that is more of a 90s album, late 90s, I think 98, 99, something like that. Vinny, are you back? I see you blinking now.
I am back. Yep.
Okay. So my number 3, I was just saying I am a huge Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. I love the Californication album, but this one was their next album, and that is By the Way. There are so many good songs on that album, but the one in particular, I remember, I don't know if you had heard this before you cut out, but in our driver's ed course in Oak Lawn, we had, we called it dual control, where you would take the cars out on the roads, the highways and stuff. And then we also had the range where you would work on your parking maneuvers and all that crap. Okay. And so it'd be like you and one other person in the car, no teachers. They would be up in the tower watching and on the radio or a walkie-talkie. And you could just listen to the radio and rock out while you were doing your parking maneuvers. This might be why I'm not good at parallel parking, by the way. But this song was on all the time. And that is Can't Stop by the Red Hot Chili Peppers from 2002. I love that song. Again, being a drummer, the intro to the song is excellent. It's just a complete fill on the snare drum. Anthony Kiedis and Flea are so weird, but I love this song. I love that band. It still blows my mind that Flea was in Back to the Future as Needles. Needles, yeah. And the fact that he was also in... was it Obi-Wan last year? He was one of the bad guys in Obi-Wan.
Yes. Yep.
So what a unique career that guy's had. But the bass line is excellent in that. The drum part's great. Anthony Kiedis is like yelling on the microphone for half the time. If you are a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, that album in general has got so many hits on it. But this one is by far my favorite song of theirs. So that's Can't Stop. Came out in 2002. Red Hot Chili Peppers. There you go.
Nice, good one. I'll have to listen to that one. I don't recognize the title, but I don't know many of their titles. I think they had a couple number one songs that came up in my research, and I didn't recognize the titles. And then I listened to them, like, oh yeah, I know that one.
You know what, Vinny? Can you refresh Zencastr because you do not have any audio? It's not popping up on audio.
I can try. Sure.
I just want to make sure we don't lose any audio for Zencastr.
Okay.
Oh, now it says you're offline. Well, it's loading. It's loading. This is great audio. Let's see. You got a green dot. You're connected. All right. Try saying something.
Okay.
There we go. All right. I see sound waves. You're good.
Okay. So number 3 for me was number 1 in 2007 for 18 weeks. It
wow.
Was the Foo Fighters, The Pretender.
Oh, that is such a good song.
Really good song. Again, this is another song that slaps. And probably one of the reasons why I put Irreplaceable on there is because I didn't want to have all rock songs.
Yes.
But no, it's a really good one. Again, 18 weeks. It's nothing to slouch at. They were pretty good. It's a good song for a reason, a popular song for a reason. It's really good. And one of the more famous songs, I would say. Dave Grohl. Foo Fighters for me, I was never the biggest Foo Fighter fan. Still I guess I still not. But to me, they're kind of like a high floor, low ceiling, like band to me. They're good. I don't feel like and maybe it's because I don't listen to a lot of their not popular, the deep cuts and everything like that. But, all their stuff is really good. It's just I don't think anything's like that special, at least for me. But I can see the appeal that people have for it. I think they're a solid band. But, yeah, to me, they're never one band I'm like, oh, I got to listen to the Foo Fighters. I got to listen to this song by the Foo Fighters. But if it comes on, it's like, yeah, that's a really good song. So that made number 3 right in the middle of the list for me for that reason. It's really good song, but nothing like I feel like they have a good comfort zone of songs that they have. But yeah, so number 3 for me was the Foo Fighters, The Pretender.
All right, going into my number 2, also the Foo Fighters, but this is from the early 2000s album. I was going back and forth because I like each song equally, and originally I had In Times Like These, which is one of my favorite songs by them. Not as much of a hard rock song, a little bit more mellow, but I feel like there's a theme here. I went with the one that just like totally amps you up as soon as it starts with the guitar riffs, and that is All My Life by the Foo Fighters. I don't know if you've ever heard that song. Very similar to The Pretender, just 5 years earlier. It just, as soon as it starts, it's a jam. Like the guitar part, Dave Grohl's, rolling. And that was really probably my introduction to the Foo Fighters, because obviously I love the songs like My Hero and Evergreen. It's getting late. Not Evergreen. Ever Long. Let me try that again.
Yep.
From the Color and the Shape album, which I think was 97. Listen to them in the 90s. But when this album came out, which I got to find out what album this was now. But this album came out right around the time I was getting my driver's license. And this song was the first single off of it. It was, let's see, One by One was the album. It came out in 2002. That album had so many hits on it. But this one is a great song. It starts at like 11 and it just goes from there. So, highly recommend it.
Nice. Okay.
There you go.
I'll have to give that one a listen to.
Yeah, for sure.
Number 2 for me, this song was number 1 for 6 weeks in 2004. This is Green Day's American Idiot. That was such a good song. It still is. Whether you like the lyrics or not, I love them. I feel like I've appreciated them more that I've gotten older.
Yeah.
But that was a great album. That was a whole rock opera album.
Yep. I agree.
I love that CD. I got that for Christmas, I think, one year, and I think I listened to that entire Christmas break. It was such a good CD. And I love that song from it. I think it was in Madden 2 that year, or next year's Madden. But yeah, that's such a good song of theirs. Just the opening guitar riff of it, you instantly know that it's the song American Idiot. And yeah, I like Green Day. It's one of my first favorite bands ever. So, yep, number 2 for me was American Idiot by Green Day.
Good choice. Yeah, I feel like they're one of those bands. I like them. But similar to your thoughts on the Foo Fighters, I feel like that's how I think about Green Day. Like, I like them. Yeah. I'm not going to necessarily seek them out all the time, but overall, I do enjoy them. So, all right, my number 1, I love this song. The band is okay. I know I saw recently on Twitter, there was a bunch of discussion on their drummer, which I think she's a fine drummer. I think the way she plays drums was perfect for the music this band did, and apparently a lot of people were just saying she was a bad drummer, which I would disagree. And that is the White Stripes, and the song is Seven Nation Army. I can listen to that song whenever that song comes on. I just get pumped. I'm like, that is such a cool song. It's like turned into like a stadium like rock song now that's played at soccer games, hockey games, maybe football. You don't really hear it at baseball games, but I know Jack Jack White was on Conan O'Brien's podcast, and he was talking about how never in a million years would he have thought he'd write a song that would become like a stadium anthem, but like he really enjoys the fact that people enjoy it when it comes to being at a game. Like he thought that was really cool. So that made me like it a little bit even more. The White Stripes, like I love the fact that they're not so much Seven Nation Army, but you know, a lot of their other songs are very short. It's like 2.5 minutes in and out. There's no overstaying their welcome. It's just him on guitar and Meg White on the drums. And you know, I enjoyed playing a lot of their songs because they were drum parts that I could actually play, which some people get the idea, oh, well, Meg White must be a bad drummer because they're easy. They're not, I wouldn't call them easier parts, but they're easier to understand. But I feel like if you were to go in there and like go balls to the wall and hitting things and banging around, it wouldn't be the White Stripes then, right? So like, I don't know. That's just a song I absolutely love. It's just such a got a weird vibe to it, but I dig it, and that is my number one of the 2000s.
It's a great number one.
Thank you,
that
Vinny.
Song is phenomenal.
Thank you.
I think, that there's, like you said, like you hear that at, you know, soccer games.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you hear that a lot with the chanting of the crowd. I'm guessing hockey games.
Yeah.
I don't think you would ever find that at a baseball game.
No,
but
probably
that
not.
song's great. Jack White's such a great guitarist.
Yes.
And that, I remember that. I think that was probably the first White Stripes song I heard. I'm like, oh man, this band, this song.
They're good.
So,
yeah.
Great. Yep. Great song. Great guitarist. Yeah. I would say as well, I mean, the band is, you know, Jack White's the talent. And you don't want, I mean, I guess you could have another, you know, great drummer, but I feel like every band has one aspect that's kind of the focal point. You don't have like Rush. I mean, I guess I wouldn't be able to tell you who the guitarist and bass player was for Rush, but I'm sure you know Rush heads could. But the drummer, I know who the drummer was.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know certain aspects of the band because of the main focal point. And if you had a great, you know, Dave Grohl with Jack White, you know, Dave Grohl would probably understand that, Jack White's probably the key, and they'd probably be able to play off each other, but it wouldn't be as good as the White Stripes. And, you know, you don't need a good drummer if you have a great guitarist. As long as someone's competent enough to be able to play the drums, that's all you need.
Yeah, and I think it fit their, like you said, it fit their style of music, too. Their style of music, you did not need someone going insane on the drums. You know, like you said, you don't need like Neil Peart back there or, you know, John Bonham, God rest his soul. But like, you know, like same thing, AC/DC. I think of Angus Young, you know, in his little schoolboy outfit playing the guitar. I don't really think about their drummer, you know, or, you know, their lead singer you think of a little bit too, or depending on which singer, you know, both of them, I suppose. But yeah, I think that's a great point. But yeah, I love that song. I think the first song I heard of theirs was, was it Fell in Love with a Girl, and it's like 1:52. It's like really short. That was the first song of theirs. But yeah, I never really got into Jack White's other stuff though. I can't think of his other band. Shoot, what is his? He had another band that had some hits. Yes, I never really got into the Raconteurs. I don't know about you, but they had a few songs I liked. But yeah. Yep. So that's my number one.
Good. I like that. That's a great number one. My number one, I had listed this as my number one when we did pop songs, and that is I Got a Feeling by the Black Eyed Peas.
Oh, yeah.
Number one for 12 weeks in 2009. Such a great song. And that was college for me, so that was like hearing that all the time at parties, and it is such a good song. Whenever that comes on the radio, you just kind of bounce along with it and just bop your head, do whatever. It's a good song. I don't know what else I can really say about it that I didn't say before. But yeah, that song was great in 2009, and I still love it today. So
you still live by it. All right.
One.
Should we jump to the write-ins, or do you want to do honorable mentions first? Your call.
I already said my honorable mention was the Nickelback one. You can do yours if you would like.
All right. Oh, man. All right. Strap in, Vinny. Hash Pipe by Weezer Love that song.
Okay.
I did not know what
That's
a hash
good one.
pipe was when it came out. Speed of Sound by Coldplay. Love that song. Sweetness by Jimmy Eat World. Great song. Clocks by Coldplay. Love. Times Like These by the Foo Fighters. Into Deep by Sum 41. I love that song. Honestly by Zwan. That was Billy Corgan's other band in the early 2000s after the Smashing Pumpkins broke up. Come On by the Von Bondies. Love that song. Also
Nice.
the theme song of Rescue Me. Silver Sun Pickups, they had two songs they have many songs I love, but Substitution and Lazy Eye. Float On by Modest Mouse. I Miss You by Blink-182. Nice. Are You Gonna Be My Girl by Jet. The Remedy, Abandoned Pools. This is a weird one. Emerge by a group called Fisher Spooner. They were like a techno rock band, and this was when I was really into The Matrix, and this song just makes me think of The Matrix. Feel Good Inc. by the Gorillaz. Take Me Out by Franz Ferdinand. The Seed 2.0 by The Roots, and Cherry Lips, Go Baby Go by Garbage. There you go.
Interesting. You did not have Chelsea Dagger on your list.
No, I'm kind of over that song now.
Shame.
Yeah.
For shame, Justin. They don't play that anymore, though. You should be...
They don't have a reason to. They don't score any goals.
Is that still their... That's not their song
It is still their goal song.
It is?
Yes.
Wow.
It is. I kind of feel like next year they need to change it up. Like, that era has ended.
Yeah.
We love it, but it's time to move on. So I don't know what you move it
still
to.
Played it.
Yeah, they still play it. It doesn't get played very often. I can tell you the game I went to this season didn't get played once. So,
That's funny.
But yeah, it is a good song.
I was curious to see if that would make it on your list.
It did not make it.
Do you know of any other Fratelli songs?
No, I don't know any. Do you?
No? Oh, you should listen to the.
Are they pretty good?
CD yeah, they're pretty good.
Okay.
The first song on that CD was it Costella Music is really good. Henrietta is the name of the song. So
I'll check it out.
They're a pretty good band. And that's I still like that song. I listened to that today. I haven't heard it in forever. But I remember when they were doing their cup runs, like,
oh my God, it was on all the time
on the radio.
Yes,
everywhere. And that definitely did get overplayed, but it is still a really good song.
It is a great goal song. Like, it is so the beat, the rhythm, like, it's perfect for just they score, you jump up and you start like dancing and throwing your arms up to the beat of the song.
Along with it.
Yes, it's a good song. Agreed.
So I was curious to see if that made your list. Okay, we can do the listener. I was going to say reader submissions. That doesn't make any sense because we don't put anything out to read. Listener submissions. Do you want to start?
Sure. Tony, shout out to Tony. He just wrote in and said Ocean Avenue by Yellowcard. He is a huge Yellowcard fan. Ocean Avenue is a great song. That was actually one of my screen names on AIM for a while. Ocean Avenue 42. I was really into Yellowcard at that time. He also said Welcome to the Black Parade by... Shoot, who sings Welcome to the Black Parade?
I have no idea.
My Chemical Romance. I never got into My Chemical Romance. So, thank you, Tony, for writing in.
Thank you, Tony. Dr. Mantis writes in number 5, One More Time by Daft Punk. Number 4, Kids by MGMT. I don't know who that is.
Oh, MGM. Yes, I know that song. It's a good song.
Okay. Number 3, Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes. Number 2, Mr. Brightside by the Killers. And number 1, Hey Ya, Outcast.
Oh, that's a good song. I do like that song.
Yeah.
All right. Erica wrote in. She said, this list was subject to change, but it never changed. So she said, Eminem's Just Lose It, Kesha TikTok, Ludacris, what's wrong?
What's Just Lose It?
I have no...
Yourself?
Maybe. I don't... No.
That was on... That was, I don't know. I'm guessing it's a deep cut knowing it's Eminem and her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've never heard. I don't know what song this is. It's the video is him in a Santa suit. I don't know what that is. Ludacris, number 1 spot. Sum 41, Fat Lip, and Kanye West, Stronger. Stronger. I really liked that song when it came out. That was a great song. So there you go.
Daft Punk in the background of that one.
Yes, it did. Correct. You're right. You're right.
Robin writes in, I Got a Feeling by the Black Eyed Peas. Good job, Robin. Hate to Say I Told You So.
Oh, by the Hives. That's a great song. That would be on my honorable mention as well. Great band. Great band.
Are You Gonna Be My Girl by Jet. Beautiful Day, U2.
Good song.
Times Like These by the Foo Fighters, I'm guessing, instead of Two Fighters. Okay.
Yeah, I copied and pasted that wrong. All right. Kelsey wrote in.
Copy and paste wrong, Justin. Hold
I
on.
know.
Let's get back to that.
I'm
copy and paste
wrong?
wrong?
I'm trying to give my mom the benefit of the doubt here.
Okay.
I think she spelled it wrong. Kelsey wrote in. Kelsey actually invited us to be on her podcast. Host of, she is of Peace, Love, and Baseball. She is a Cardinals fan, so that should be interesting to be on a Cardinals podcast. But she wrote in and said, as a millennial, I feel overwhelmed by choosing songs of the 2000s, but I think it's notable that this is NSYNC's No String Attached era, which is the best. Favorite one-hit wonder is Just the Girl by the Click 5. I have heard of the Click 5. I don't know that song. She also said Yeah by Usher and Drops of Jupiter by Train. I loved that song at first, and then it was way overplayed, and I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I listened to that one because that one made it on the short list for me. God, Lil Jon is God.
Oh, I
awful.
love
He
Little
just
John.
ruins that song.
Dave
I don't-
Chappelle's
I'm
Little
getting-
John is great, too.
Well, that's really that's the only thing great about Little John. If you I say Little John.
Lil.
Yeah, I had a birthday this week, and now I'm old and crotchety.
Yeah,
where
happy belated birthday.
I listened to that song, and he ruins it. He is so bad in that song.
Oh, Vinny.
I can't stand him. Go back and listen to that song, Justin, and tell me that you like Lil Jon in that song.
Do you remember when he came out with Crunk Juice, which was was it cough syrup and grape juice?
Wasn't that Lil Wayne that did that?
Oh, that was Lil Wayne, not Lil Jon. I love Little John. Like Little John and the East Side Boys.
Lil Jon, not Little John. Little
Now I'm
John
just-
is from Robin Hood.
Now I'm just
Now you're
thinking.
just copying me.
I'm thinking of Lil Jon in Robin Hood. I, for the longest time, did not know the real lyrics to that popular Lil Jon and the East Side Boys song. I thought it was just, never mind. I don't need to put the explicit tag on this, thing. Yeah, good. That is a good song, though. Thank you, Kelsey, for writing in.
Yes, thank you. Jake Banowski writes in Fat Lip by Sum 41. X Gone Give It To You by DMX. Ooh, that one rolled off the tongue for me. That sounded pretty good. Clint Eastwood by the Gorillaz.
Good song.
I don't know this one. Is it Reply or is it just Restack?
I don't know. I've heard of the bands, but I don't know this song.
By Bon Iver. It's RE semicolon, which if you're writing an email is reply. But it could just be Restacked.
I believe the pronunciation of the band is Bon Iver, but I could be wrong. And maybe it is
not
Bon
Bon
Iver.
Iver.
No.
It's not Bon Iver. Dear
Jake,
Lord.
if you're
How
Jake,
old
if
am I?
Jake, please write in and correct Vinny.
Jake will never be on the podcast again. Lazy Eye by Silver Sun Pickups. I believe you mentioned that band.
Yes, they are very good. If you've never listened to them, Vinny, I would give them a listen as well. They have a lot of good songs.
Okay. And then Jake goes on to say that he can't believe that all those songs came out in the same decade.
Yeah, he and I were talking. I told him there was a short period of time in high school, I thought Sum 41 was going to be bigger than Blink-182. I was sorely mistaken.
Boy, were you wrong.
Yeah. After that first album, I tuned out. I'm like, I'm good. I got my Sum 41 fill. But like, In Too Deep is such a good song. So is Fat Lip.
It is.
All right.
The music video. I'm surprised he didn't talk about that.
No, I've been trying to dial back my music video talk for you.
But that's the only way I learn about music videos is through you, Justin.
Well, see, while I was running on the treadmill this week, I was watching these music videos so I could remember these songs. That was when I was doing my homework for the podcast. Had to multitask. Jake's podcast, the Dingers podcast, those guys also wrote in. They said the White Stripes, Seven Nation Army. Oh, In the End by Linkin Park. Vinny, were you a Linkin Park fan?
I was, yeah.
So was
that was
I.
kind of, but I like the hybrid theory. That was about
Hybrid
as far
Theory.
as I went with Linkin.
I got so into that album. I remember I got that album. Somebody bought me a t-shirt for my birthday. This would have been like 2000. And then that was also the time when I would gel my hair and spike the front so it would like stand straight
There you
up. And then I also I shopped at Hot Topic and No, not a shell necklace. This was the metal necklace that had like the spikes on it. I would wear that.
Lord.
But because it was metal, I would get a reaction to it on my skin, so I could only wear it so many days a week before I started breaking out in like hives.
That doesn't surprise me, Justin.
No.
I'm not shocked at all by that.
So that was middle school, and then I got to high school, and then I went through like my preppy phase where I wore American Eagle and Hollister and all that stuff instead of Hot Topic. So, and now I just don't care.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also said Linkin Park in the end. POD, Youth of the Nation. Did you know POD was a Christian band?
I
Okay.
learned that, I think, shortly after POD Youth of the Nation, because I think I burned their album, and I was like listening to other songs. I'm like, oh, these are really not my type of songs.
No.
But yeah.
No. I really liked Alive. I thought that was like my jam freshman year of high school. I loved that song. And then lastly, they say MXPX, who I have heard of, Responsibility, and Reliant K, Be My Escape. There you go.
Interesting. I think the Linkin Park in the end, what was that? There was like last year, 2 years ago, people were putting that song to endings of movies. And it was like if a movie had come out in like, I think it was like 2006 that movie came out, or that song came out. If a movie had come out in 2006, and then they were doing like different ones. Like there was one I saw where it was like an old video of a train arriving to the station, and like that's what the movie was, and they played that song to it. It was like, but it lined up perfectly in a lot of the movies and stuff that people did. And then I think somebody did The Godfather, and it was just the ending, actual ending of the like music of The Godfather, not the song, which made it hilarious. But
awesome.
Yeah, that song was pretty good. And I think that whole meme, or I don't know if you would call it a meme because it had music and video to it, but I remember hearing or seeing those, and it just brought back memories of like that time in the 2000s when that song was popular.
That's too funny. All right, well, Vinny, we made it through another show. We're done.
Somehow,
some
we
way,
through and made it.
We made it. In the end, this podcast episode is over. I'm going to be crawling upstairs to my bed now because I am tired.
No, you gotta edit the podcast.
I gotta edit the podcast. I'm Vinny. I don't know. I can't think of any other Linkin Park songs. All right, I'm going to shut up.
Stop right there.
We are going to stop right there. Again, this is Baseball and Whatever. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to write into the show, you can reach us in a variety of ways. YouTube.com/baseball and whatever. Facebook.com/baseball and whatever. Tweet us at baseball and what. You can find us on Instagram at baseball and whatever as well. You can also call and leave us a voicemail or text us at 1-913-808-3278. That number again is 1-913-808-3278 or 913-808-FARTS. Thank you. I read the number twice. Can you tell I'm numb?
You're
all right.
Done.
I'm done. We will be back next week with more baseball and whatever. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you next week.
See ya.